Obviously, I failed the class with an F. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the time that I failed the class in nursing school. Yes, honey, failed. F-A-I-L-E-D. Okay? Failed. I first started college fall of 2014, and I was projected to graduate in May of 2018. So if I would have graduated in 4 years, that's when I would have graduated. Did my prerequisites my first 2 years, of course. So I started my nursing program, when was it? Summer of 2016, right? The program that I got into at my school, there was two programs. There was a full-time program and a part-time program. The full-time program was 2 years, and then the part-time program was 2.5 years. Got accepted into the part-time program, so I was projected to graduate in December of 2018 because it was 2.5 years, so it was like an additional semester. So every semester we had these classes called Healthcare of the Client, and they were separated into 4 separate semesters. So Healthcare of the Client 1, 2, 3, and 4. This specific semester I was taking Healthcare of the Client 3, a mixture of topics. So it wasn't really like med-surg, peds, it wasn't really, or mental health. It was a mixture of things. Remember, we learned a lot about labor and delivery. Labor and delivery was not my thing. It's still not my thing, and it was a very hard concept to grasp for me. This was spring of 2018. So it was technically just one semester before the semester I was supposed to graduate. We had 4 exams in this class, just as we did in most of the Healthcare of the Client classes. Had a few quizzes, but of course, as you all know, if you are in nursing school or if you've been in nursing school, you know that you need a 75% test average alone in order to pass the class. So really, the only thing that matters in the class, if you want to pass, is your exam grades. First exam, I didn't study as I should have, right? And the teacher was really tough in this class. I remember the first exam I failed terribly, like a 60, right? And I was like, okay, I just need to know that the next 3 exams, I need to kick ass in them and pass. I remember the second test comes around and I failed it again, terribly as well, like a 68. Like, I remember they weren't above 70s for sure. So I failed the first 2 exams, and this was already halfway through the semester. So I knew the only way that I was gonna pass the class was if I freaking did amazing on the next 2 exams. Another factor that played into the reason why I failed this class was definitely my sociology minor classes. And I was taking these sociology classes online. And normally I would only take 1 sociology class online, right? But this semester I took 2 online. But I figured, I'm like, oh, it's not gonna be so hard because they're 8-week courses. So I would take the first sociology class for the first 8 weeks, and then the second one, the second 8 weeks, right? So I remember these classes took a lot of my time, and I remember I told myself that I didn't want to get a B in any of my sociology classes because they were really easy, I would say. They were definitely not as rigorous as my nursing courses. They were much easier, and they were online, so it was like there's no reason for me to get a B in them. So I was spending a lot of time on my sociology classes, which I did well in those classes, but I was really lagging in my nursing classes. And then I think I had hit a point where I was honestly over studying like nursing material. It was getting really, really hard. And it was getting really like repetitive and annoying. I just was not focused. I was not making my nursing class my priority. So when the 3rd exam came around, I did pass my 3rd exam in that class, but I think it was around like the high 70s. So it didn't really make my test average go up not that much. And my test average was still below a 75. At this point, I was like panicking because if you know anything about nursing school, that last exam is like either you do or die. Either you can get a really terrible grade and pass the class because your average is so good, or you need to make a super, super high grade on that last exam, on your final exam, because your test average was low. And that was me in that semester. That was me. I was in that situation. Exam 4 obviously had new material on it, and it had an accumulation of the material from the previous exam. I was in there sweating bullets. I was sweating bullets, you guys. Like, I was so nervous. And I remember I was going to my professor and I don't know, I was like trying to like win her over, but it was not working. My final exam came around and I remember I think I needed a 92. So once I got that notification on my phone that I got an 86 on that exam, I knew in my mind after all of my calculations, and I'm telling you guys, I calculated my test average so many times. I knew after I calculated everything that I failed. I knew that there was no way around it. I knew that I failed the class and I knew that I would have to repeat it. And I would have to repeat it that following fall when I was supposed to graduate. And then I'll be leaving my cohort that I was with for 2 years. So I went to my professor and I spoke with her and there was nothing she could do. And I mean, I even cried in there. It was like really just sad, really depressing. Obviously, I failed the class with an F. And I had to retake it that following fall. I just retook the class by itself. And I had to take the classes that I was gonna take that fall, my final semester. I had to take that in spring of 2019. And at the time, you guys, I thought it was the end of the world. Literally, I thought it was the end of the world. I was like, dude, I'm not graduating with my original class. Like, that's so embarrassing that I have to graduate in 5 years, which now looking back is definitely not embarrassing. But it was more embarrassing of the fact that so many people from my cohort like failed some of the classes previously. So I was like, I don't want to be in their shoes. Like, I want to stay in my cohort. I want to get it out the way. I want to hurry up and graduate. Definitely a learning lesson. And hopefully this story was encouraging to some of you all who either failed a class or on the verge of failing a class. I just want to let you know that it is not the end of the world. I understand that in nursing school, if you do fail the class, it kind of pushes you back and you have to graduate later just because of the way the courses are set up. You know, you can't move on to the next semester unless you pass the previous semester. It can be very sad and like depressing, but I promise you it does not even matter like a year later. Even when I graduated, I was super happy and it didn't even bother me the fact that I didn't graduate in December. And honestly, I was happy that I graduated in May of the next semester because that's when you want to graduate. You want to graduate in the springtime, not in the freaking winter time. But I graduated in May, took my NCLEX in July, started work in August, honey. I'm just so happy that that incident happened in life because it just honestly just showed me that it is not the end of the world if something bad happens in your life. God placed that failure so that I could work harder and get exactly what I wanted in the long run. I hope that was some motivation for a lot of you nursing students out there, especially going through this quarantine. I know a lot of you all are doing school online, and I just hope that was a little motivation to you to stay strong, keep studying, and I promise you, if you fail the class, it is not the end of the world. All right, y'all, make sure you guys subscribe, like, comment down below, and I'll see you guys on my next video. Bye!